Who is the Emperor? Well, in this series, we're going to take a look at these individual tarot cards, their specific meanings and messages. My name is Crow. It's a pleasure to have you here today. And to answer my initial question, the answer is you and me and everybody else, because the Major Arcana show the different classifications of the psyche, 22 different sections of the soul. They show the soul's journey through consciousness. Now, the Emperor is card number 4, but he is, of course, the 5th card in the Major Arcana, which is a very interesting combination as well between the number 4 and 5, the correspondence of Jupiter and Mars, the fatherly king of Jupiter, and yet the ruler warrior of Mars. We can see this mix here in his red robes, his stone throne covered with rams, and yet his fatherly, kingly appearance. He is the King of Kings, of course. Now, the first thing I'd like to talk about with the Emperor is the reflection, the opposite of the Empress, really, because the Empress is all about the feelings. If we look at the creative force, we have the imagination, then we have the feelings, and then we have the thoughts. And the thoughts are very important because they shape the creation. They make a boundary. They are the outline. The Emperor is all about authority. He's all about boundaries and limitations, but self-imposed limitations. If you wanted to bake a cake, if you had no cake tin, it would just go everywhere. You may have all the ingredients from the Empress, you may have the desire from the higher planes, but if you've got no cake tin, it's just going to end up with a mess. And this is where the Emperor comes in. He's all about this stability, this boundary being put in place. His authority. We can see here, we have this orb in his left hand, yes. I believe it's called the Orb of Sovereignty in England. And it details the authority that the king has. Essentially, it is corresponding with a globe, isn't it? He's showing his complete control over the land, over the people, over all things. And he really does. Thoughts do have control. Of course, the Empress is the power behind it all, but the thoughts really do shape the kingdom. And so we've also got his rod, his staff in his right hand. And this is the power. This is the power of the Emperor. His decree is final. He needs, of course, the Empress to support him, but he's the one who issues the command. And he is a warrior. He's wearing armor here. He's ready to take on any opponent. There is no one who can stand up against him. And an emperor is expansive in nature. An empire is not quite like a kingdom. A kingdom can be very self-sufficient, insular perhaps. It can be, I would say, stagnant, but perhaps a better term would be stable. But the empire is a thing of expansion. And that's not a bad thing, especially in consciousness. Consciousness, of course, in this smaller form that we're experiencing at the moment, this finite self, we are all about expansion. We're all about growing and reclaiming what we have lost, expanding back into the infinite. And the Emperor reminds us of this, reminds us to take authoritative stand. He's sitting in a stone throne, completely secure presence of mind, a completely solid state of consciousness, a state of authority. He's got the mountains behind him, full of wonderful resources at his disposal. It is quite a barren landscape, and that, I believe, is because the Empress is the one who fashions it with lovely things. But the Emperor's not about this. He's about wisdom. He's about authority. He's about laying down the law, deciding about how things will be, his decree over the earth. And so you need to be the same way with your own mind. You need to have this commanding presence. You have the divine authority. Look at his left hand holding the orb there. And you have the power. You have the power of the divine consciousness supporting you, shown by the rod in his right hand. How in control of your thoughts are you? How often do you allow negative thoughts to rise? Do you command them like this emperor would? Do you say, no, instead I'm going to think from this position? Perhaps there is something you desire. I imagine there is. Are you sitting in a position of authority saying, this is how I want things to be? Or are you sitting in a position of worry and you're thinking, I don't want this to happen? Are you thinking of a position of financial stability, of harmonious relationship, of health and well-being? Once you have these things in consciousness, it is then the emperor who determines that they will be represented upon the earth. You have made this decision internally. The empress has said this is what we are bringing into the world. And it is the emperor to raise the child. It is the emperor to teach them. The empress is all about nurturing and growth. And the emperor is all about teaching, authority. Doesn't mean he doesn't do it with love. He doesn't... We look here, he was quite an old man depicted in these images, which of course corresponds with wisdom. He knows exactly what needs to be done, but he also has the gall to do it. He has the courage and the persistence to take the actions he needs to take. Many times, if we want to move into a new state of consciousness, something that we maybe struggled with previously, perhaps if you've had health issues and you want to move into a state of health, you're going to have these worries that creep along and tell you you can't do this. This isn't how things are. But is that what the emperor would respond with? Would he respond with worry and anxiety, or would he just command it to be so and expect it to be so? Because he has the power and the authority. You have the power and the authority of consciousness behind you. You get to decide what life to live. You get to decide where the boundaries are, and you can keep expanding them at your own pleasure. It's up to you the rate of expansion you desire. There's no need to be shy. And the emperor is ready to destroy his enemies. The emperor is ready to destroy these old states of consciousness that don't support him, that block his path of expansion. Every single piece of the Major Arcana exists within you, of course. How aligned are you with the emperor? A lot of people can struggle with the emperor because they don't like to be combative, they don't like to be demanding, but he is part of you. He is your right. It is your right to demand the life you desire. And I think that's where we're going to leave it today. It is your right to choose. And the emperor, of course, gets to choose. He makes the decree. So, if there's any other cards you'd like me to explain, or any readings you'd like me to do, please leave a comment down below. If you'd like a private reading, you can find the link to that in the description. But thank you very much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next time.